everyone, and thank you so much for patiently waiting for like 10 minutes, and then we can start now. And today's session is gonna be bilingual. Okay, you will hear English because I cannot speak Korean, and then but our alumni won, and then he just came back, and then to Korea, and then so he will share his experience and then at INSEAD with you guys. So before I start, I want to know how many of you are actually having less than 2 years of work experience now, and you're undergraduate student.
I just graduated.
You just graduated, and you're looking for the Master in Management or the MBA?
Both, but more for the masters.
More for the masters, okay. So today's session, I think we will focus because we have alumni here, so he will share his INSEAD experience with you, and also I will talk a little bit more about the application, right? So how many of you here, you already have decided to apply for an MBA? Okay, that's good, thank you. So no matter, I think you apply to INSEAD or not, I think this session will also help you to think about, how to probably draft your essays. So even though the essay questions are mainly for INSEAD, but I'm sure how you start, prepare for your MBA application should be the same in terms of the timeline on that. And I'm Jennifer, so I'm based in Singapore. INSEAD has 4 campuses, and I'm based in Singapore, but our admissions and recruitments are global. So I'm the head of the recruitment for all our full-time degree programs. But usually, I will directly only do the recruitments in Korea and Japan now. And so in the future, if you have any questions, you can still contact me. And then in terms of your any questions about the INSEAD and also about your application. So to start with, I give you a little bit introduction about INSEAD. So INSEAD as an independent business school is very different from the general university, like you heard from M7 in US. Is that most of them, all of them, they are the general university, and then they have the business school. But for INSEAD, we started 60 years back as the business school, and then for the world. So over the past 6 years, that you can see that for the MBA program is always the flagship program for INSEAD, and that is where we started with. And we also have the very high ranking. If you open the Financial Times ranking, I think even you haven't heard about INSEAD before, you want to apply for MBA, the moment you open the ranking table, I'm sure everyone will know INSEAD. So, but from there, I think we also, if you look at the business and management studies, the ranking in QS, because we are not the general university, so you will not find the general university ranking in QS, but you will always see in terms of subject, INSEAD, the business and management ranking is always #2 in the world. And #1 is Harvard. And on top of that, I think INSEAD is very, very good. This part, I want to mention a bit more, is that a lot of people, they think they know INSEAD, or probably will get to know INSEAD, is because you think INSEAD is very strong in consulting. But actually, if you look at a lot of our alumni network, you will see more than 30 to 40% of our alumni have ever become the entrepreneur, and then in the past 10 years. And we have a very strong the entrepreneurship spirit in the school itself. So currently, among all our INSEAD alumni, we have 1,400 startups, and INSEAD is also the #1 unicorn universities in Europe. Right, so if you have your mind, I think in the future want to start your business, then probably this is a global community that you can look for. And so far, we started our campus in Fontainebleau in France. Anyone have been to France? Or have you been to Fontainebleau? Next time, make sure you go. Every 2 months, we have an open day. You basically, the Fontainebleau open day will be long. It's half day. And then you start with the faculty masterclass, campus tour, and you also have the different, the team, and then we'll be there. So my team will be there, admissions team will be there to answer your question. And also in the morning, you can go to visit the Fontainebleau Castle, right, the chateau. So it's a very, packed schedule for you one day. And you can just take a train from Paris. And Singapore, I'm sure, for Korean, you know very well. And then it's just I feel it's quite similar to Seoul. And then it's convenient. So for Singapore, our campus is right on top of one of the subway station. And it takes you probably just 10, 15 minutes and then to the city center. And it's close, of course, it's very close to Korea. If you want to go home, I think one weekend you can come back. How many times you come back?
Just once.
Okay. So we also have Abu Dhabi campus in UAE, and in 2020 we started our business and innovation hub in San Francisco. Why we have this hub is because we do have a lot of American alumni. So if you visit US, and then so especially every year we have our career track or the field trip, and then to US, the students will also connect with the alumni. And also we have a lot of connection with the potential investors in US. So our entrepreneurship centers, and then sometimes they will also connect the potential investors, and then with the alumni students that they have the similar, the startup projects to start with. But the San Francisco hub, okay, I know a lot of Korean want to go to US, but just remember this is not the MBA campus, okay, like in US. So you can, if you want to study in INSEAD, no matter for Master in Management or MBA, your home campus is always either Fontainebleau or Singapore. And because we have like a very global campus, it helps us really like to connect with the potential, the employers, the corporate relationship is very strong. And also for INSEAD, the biggest advantage is the community. So if you graduate from INSEAD, you really have your classmates or alumni all over the world. Like, even we just a business school, but if you look at the number of countries that our alumni base, I think wherever you go, you will always meet your either friends or like the INSEAD alum. So, and the alumni network, I think, is very approachable. It's not that it's very far away from you. If you see someone from INSEAD, you want to like just connect with them, you will always get the response. It doesn't matter, I think, probably how senior this guy is, as long as you say you are from INSEAD. So far we have the CEO in the world, like if you look at the Fortune 500 companies, many of them graduate from the top business school, and INSEAD is actually produced the second largest number of CEO for the Fortune 500, Fortune 500 companies in the world. And in the meantime, as I mentioned, we also have many entrepreneurial. So far we already, actually our alumni already raised $38.1 billion US dollars, and then among all the 1,400 startups. So these are some of the companies and then founded by our INSEAD alumni, the MBA alumni. And if you apply to any top business schools and you are looking for any financial support, like the international MBA loan, you will definitely know Prodigy Finance, because they offer MBA loan to all the top the MBA students. And the same actually for Brain Capital, another the loan and the company as Prodigy Finance. The Brain Capital also funded by the INSEAD alumni. And recently, I think BlaBlaCar just announced that their revenue, they were startup, and then in the past, and then 3-4 years, their revenue go up to $200 million US dollars, and then in 2023. So yeah, and so today I think if the biggest, we offer only 2 full-time degree programs at INSEAD so far, and it's very straightforward. So if you have less than 2 years work experience, by the program start, you can consider the Master in Management. But I think majority of you, if you already have more than 2 years of work experience, that you can consider the MBA program. Both programs is the shortest program in the world. Right? The curriculum on campus is only 10 months. And the only difference is the internship period. I think for the Master in Management, you will have another 4 to 6 months after the program you can still be students, entitled as a student, and do the final internship. But for the MBA students, if you want to do internship, then you choose the January intake. You'll have 2 months in July and August. Otherwise, you can just go for the August intake, and then like without any internship. So for the Master in Management is actually for the early professional, career professional to kickstart your international career. So if you want to work overseas, or you want to like focus on the business fields, I think it's good to start with the Master in Management program. You get opportunities like in many countries. The same for MBA. MBA is also for career changer, or you just want to accelerate your career in the same industry, that's also fine. But it also gives you the opportunity to explore different career opportunities in the middle of your career, either be change industry or change location or change your function. Okay, so this is the breakdown of the Master in Management class. And then for the MBA, we have 2 intakes. So across these 2 intakes, we have 900 to 1,000 MBA students every year. And if you can see, I think in INSEAD, it's very diverse. It's not just, I think, in people's mind that only people want to go to consulting will come to INSEAD. I think you'll be surprised that people coming from different types of the background in the world, and then they will also study in INSEAD. And now I think I will invite my alumni. So he tell you more about who are in the class will be the best. Like, I think everyone in INSEAD will always mention about diversity. I think because the diversity in INSEAD you probably will never find in any other school. I understand every school will talk about diversity. Will show you probably the not so close, but almost close to the number of nationalities you have in the class. But when it comes to INSEAD, I think the classmates you have, they really come from, they work in more than 60 countries in the world before they join, including the Master in Management student. Like even the class size is smaller, but it's the same breakdown in terms of the diversity. I think more important is that they all have different types of experience. And after MBA, I'm sure even you see there's like 30, 40, 50% of students getting into consulting. But in long term, they are actually have different types of plan in the future. So now let's welcome, I think, Juan, and then you can just give your introduction about yourself and also how do you find, I think, your classmate and how the experience, and then why do you choose INSEAD? Yeah. In Korea. Yes.
안녕하세요. 네, 날씨도 너무 덥고 한데 오시느라 너무 고생 많으셨고, 저는 갓 졸업했어요. 이제 6월 29일 날 졸업을 해서 이제 한국 온 지는 일주일 됐고요. 저는 내일부터 이제 다시 새로운 곳에서 일을 시작을 합니다. 그래서 원래는 말씀하셨듯이 저는 패션 쪽에서 이제 바이어 업무를 좀 하다가 이번에 졸업을 하고 이제 스타트업에서 F&B 브랜딩을 하기로 했고요. 말씀하셨던 것처럼 정말 커리어 체인지를 했고 다양한 경험을 할 수 있었던 거에 저는 굉장히 큰 자산을 1년 동안 얻지 않았나 싶어요. 그리고 말씀하셨던 것처럼 이제 다이버시티가 사실은 저도 아까 방금 찾아봤는데 제가 1년 전쯤에 이제 입학을 하면서 이제 학교 학생들 얼럼들 프로파일을 공개를 하거든요. 그러면 아까 보니까 저희가 404명이었는데 내셔널리티가 65개국이었어요. 그러니까 거의 같은 그룹에는 한 6명당 1명꼴로는 최소 이렇게 다른 내셔널리티가 있었던 거라서 정말 다이버시티로는 다른 대학 혹은 다른 MBA랑은 정말 큰 차이가 있다고 저는 생각을 했거든요. 그래서 제가 말씀드리는 것도 좋지만 저는 Q&A 받는 것도 더 좋을 것 같아서 I'm actually more comfortable with Q&A, so maybe I could take some questions, or is it?
Yeah, I will ask you other questions.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Anything I don't understand.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want. Like, so yeah, I think besides I think diversity in the class, so it's just you can definitely go to the website to understand a bit more about the structure of the program. But basically, for Master in Management, because students are coming from just undergrad, so we want them to have more international exposure. So for master student, you don't have a choice to choose the campus. So you have to start from France 6 months, and then the last 4 months in Singapore. But this way, it gives you the flexibility to apply for both visas after you graduate. So our student can apply for a Singapore visa to stay in Singapore for up to 1 year. They can also apply for, because if you stay in France for 6 months, you can also apply for the Europe, the visa to stay in France to look for the jobs in Europe for up to 1 year. And for the MBA, it's the same structure for 10 months. But it's up to you, so you can choose where to start your MBA. So usually we will encourage you think about where you want to work after your MBA. So even there are many opportunities are global. like even you're based in different campuses, you can still apply for this opportunity. But I think there's convenience that if you are staying in the region, that where you want to work after your MBA, especially I think for Asian students, and then you haven't had any experience in Europe, but you want to work in Europe in the future, then I think it's better you spend 10 months and then in France. That will help you to be there and connect with the alumni and community there. So for the MBA, and then you can choose to start in either France or Singapore, but after P3, so every period is 2 months. After P3, this is the time that you can do the campus exchange. So you can either choose to go to another campus, or you can also choose to just stay on that campus. Did you go to another campus?
Yes, I did Singapore and
Yeah, then you can introduce the difference about two campuses.
일단은 그 캠퍼스 두 개가 있는데 인시아드는 싱가포르와 이제 퐁텐블로 크게 두 개가 홈 캠퍼스로 쓸 수 있거든요. 싱가포르 같은 경우는 아무래도 조금 더 그 도시 국가기도 하고 도시 안에 있다 보니까 진짜 많은 얼럼나이들이랑 연결도 할 수 있고, 주로 에이펙에 있는 그런 회사들과 주로 이제 에이펙이다 보니까 이제 엔터프리너십도 많고, 그다음에 테크 기반 회사들도 많고, 그다음에 이제 에이펙 컨설팅 하시는 분들도 다 에이펙에 좀 많이 자리를 잡으시는 경향들이 있으세요. 그래서 그런 백그라운드 쪽으로 이제 혹은 내가 방금 이제 제니퍼가 얘기했던 것처럼 어떤 분야를 가고 싶으냐에 따라서 좀 이제 위진이 달라지긴 하는데, 저 같은 경우에는 이제 싱가포르에서 시작을 하고 이제 P3부터 폰텐블로로 갔는데, 폰텐블로는 아무래도 유럽에 있다 보니까 파리 기반으로 이제 패션이라든지 뭐 테크라든지, 그다음에 생각보다 이제 유럽 스타트업들이 베를린이나 뭐 런던 이런 쪽에 많아요. 그래서 그런 쪽이랑도 연계가 굉장히 많이 됐던 것 같고, 진짜 글로벌한 네트워크를 많이 가질 수 있다는 점에서 되게 좋았고, 저는 개인적으로는 싱가포르랑 폰텐블로 둘 다 해서 이제 아시아 쪽에 있었던 회사들도 더불어서 연계가 됐었고, 유럽에서도 많이 이제 연계를 하면서 두 개 캠퍼스 경험하는 게 사실은 다른 MBA 과정에서는 좀 경험하기 힘든, 혹은 뭐 이제 M7 쪽에서 미국 국가들에서는 좀 경험하기 힘든 그런 경험이지 않나 싶었어요. 그래서 그리고 이제 밑에도 나와 있었지만 아까 그 전 슬라이드에 싱가포르랑 폰텐블로 말고도 켈로그랑 와튼도 다 지원을 해서 갈 수 있거든요. 그래서 그런 부분들도 만약에 미국에서 내가 잡을 찾고 싶거나 미국 MBA를 좀 경험을 같이 해보고 싶다 하면 그런 옵션들이 되게 많아서 정말 자기가 원하는 대로 커리어나 자기가 원하는 대로 1년 설계를 할 수 있다는 점이 되게 매력적인 그런 프로그램입니다. 네.
Any questions about campus, like or the intake? No. You did a fantastic job.
Yes, thank you. Of course you understand.
For me, just like watching Korean drama without subtitle. Yeah. So so I think for MBA, like, no matter which campuses you choose, you will expect the mirror system. So it will be exactly the same in terms of core courses and also the diversity in the class. But it's just, I think, once it's P3, and then you will need to consider if you want to do campus exchange. Our campus exchange also include the opportunities to go to US like Catalog or Wharton or SIPS in China. So the other thing I think you need to consider for MBA, it's not for MIM, so it's the intake, because we do have two intakes. One is January, one is August, right? So you are the August. Yeah, so I think for the August intake, and then it's just if you are really looking for opportunities, and then in investment banking or private equity and venture capital, especially in Europe, then you need to start in January. So for the January intake, because these two fields, and then you really need to have internship, and then to convert to the full-time offer, especially after Brexit. We don't see the possibilities for non-British students, and then they can work for the internship in investment banking in UK, and then after they graduate from the program, unless you are in the January intake. But on the other hand, I think we don't see so much difference, and then between August intake and January intake, even for some students, they want to change the career. I think you can share a bit more how to choose August and January.
사실 J 클래스랑 D 클래스랑 저는 사실 모르고 지원했거든요. 차이가 있는 줄 모르고. 근데 생각보다 차이가 좀 있어서 그 예를 들어서 J 같은 경우에는 말씀하셨던 것처럼 중간에 인턴십 경험이 없어요. 그리고 방학이 없기 때문에 쭉 프로그램을 진행을 해서 아무래도 좀 커리어를 좀 내가 천천히 알아보고 싶다라든지 조금 내가 다른 분야에서 인턴십을 해보고 싶다라는 게 좀 기회가 부족할 수 있어요. 근데 이제 D 클래스 같은 경우에는 중간에 방학이 있어서 인턴십을 할 수 있지만 이게 단점이 또 뭐냐면은 D 클래스 분들은 오자마자 인턴십 준비를 해야 되는 거예요. 그래서 이게 말씀드렸다시피 10개월짜리 프로그램인데 입학하자마자 좀 이제 애들이랑 네트워킹도 하고 좀 친구들도 만나고 다른 이제 업계 분들이랑도 네트워킹 해야 되는데 D 클래스 분들은 오자마자 이제 인턴십 준비를 하다 보니까 그게 되게 빡빡하고 컴페티티브하다고 느껴지는 피드백을 좀 전 받았거든요. 그래서 그런 차이점들을 알고 지원을 하시면 더 좋을 것 같고, 저는 개인적으로 J가 좋았던 이유는 일단은 쭉 진행을 하면서 조금 친구들이랑도 계속 좀 continuously 커넥티드 될 수 있었던 점은 되게 좋았던 것 같고, 그다음에 중간에 안 쉬니까 일단은 좀 중간에 쉬면 또 하기 싫어지더라고요. 약간 이런 되게 빡센 프로그램이나 이런 게. 그래서 그런 쭉 연결성이랑 그다음에 어차피 인턴십이 생각보다 구하기 힘들 수도 있기 때문에 중간에 논의니 쭉 하고 아예 하면서 인턴십이라든지 졸업하고 나서의 인턴십이라든지 졸업하고 나서의 커리어를 계속 설계를 할 수 있다는 점이 저는 좋았던 것 같아요. 근데 큰 맥락의 차이는 거의 없다고 보시면 될 것 같습니다. 결국엔 잡서칭을 언제 하냐, 그다음에 인턴십을 내가 꼭 반드시 하고 싶냐, 그 차이인 것 같아요. 네.
How many of you planning to apply for the August intake? Oh, half, and then January. Oh, okay, half.
Probably.
So which one you suggest?
It's really differs by person to person, right? So.
Yeah, I think when it comes to the application, it's really like you need to think about the timeline. I think it's only INSEAD. I think INSEAD is the only school that whenever you want to apply for the MBA, and then every month, and then there's a round deadline, so you can always target that. But the thing is, I think that the preparation process is long. So I think when you really have decided that you need to apply for a top school, let me put it this way, the documents, everything you need to prepare will be the same. So you will still need to do your GMAT or GRE, and then you will still prepare for your TOEFL and IELTS, and then and also your application materials. Basically, it's an essay. So now I think.
Maybe one more thing. I just popped up. 그 생각보다 J랑 D 클래스가 날씨가 좀 중요해요. 날씨가 되게 별거 아니라고 생각하실 수도 있는데 I'm talking about the weather. 그래서 특히 J나 D를 하시려고 이제 선택을 하시는데 폰텐블로에서 시작을 하신다. 근데 이제 12월 달 시작을 하시려고 하시면은 유럽이 많이 추워요. 그래서 1, 2월에 이제 글루미한 웨더 이렇게 보시다가 이제 갑자기 나 싱가포르 가겠다 이러면은 그 폰텐블로의 그 좋은 날씨를 혹은 뭐 파리나 유럽의 좋은 날씨를 경험을 못 하고 가시는, 물론 이제 알프스로 스키 타러 가실 수 있지만 그런 날씨도 좀 고려를 하셔서 내가 예를 들어서 난 좀 겨울이 그래도 좋다, 혹은 뭐 여름이 좋다, 여름 사람이다, 그런 것도 좀 고려를 하셔서 지원을 하시는 게 좋을 것 같아요. 뭐 싱가포르야 1년 내내 덥지만. 네.
Yes, no matter how much we talk about the career, before the start of the program, all of them they come to us, they will say, oh, where I want to work, and then so how should I select the campus? But once in the program, they only go with the weather.
Yes.
If you see it's like a summer, everyone wants to go to Fontainebleau. If it's winter, everyone wants to come to Singapore. At that moment, everyone forget about the job. It's only trouble. Yeah, so overall, I think once you decided and then to apply, I think it's very detailed, the admissions criteria and application on the website. I think it's quite straightforward. I guess most of the school MBA master goes the same way. You need to prepare your test and then apply submit your application, and then you will have the interview, and then you will have the decision. But what we are looking for, basically, no matter for MBA or master's program, INSEADs are always looking at the first three things. So academic capacity, that we look at your undergraduate degree. If your undergraduate university is from a very strong competitive university, then your GMAT or GRE score even sometimes may not be very high, and then we also accept it because we evaluate it as a whole profile. But if your undergraduate university, you know, that may not be so competitive in Korea or in the world, and then you will need to try to at least achieve, I think, the recommended range. So our recommended range for GMAT or GRE is 70 to 75 percentile in both quantitative and verbal, and for GMAT. But for GRE, we will slightly higher for the con, is 80%. And currently, there's a change in terms of the exam, right? If you are working on the exam, you know the GMAT focus, and then it's coming up. GRE also shortened the test. But for GRE, actually no change. They just reduced to 2 hours. So our recommended range remains the same for 80 percentile for the quantitative and verbal. But for GMAT focus, if you are taking GMAT focus, from quant and verbal, they changed to 3 big sections. So every section, we also recommend 70 percentile. So for INSEAD, we really look at the balance of your score. It's not the total score. So I give you an example. We do have like students get 710 GMAT, right? You think, okay, it's good. But actually, this person was asked to retake the GMAT. And you wonder why. Because actually, he's from a law background, and he's been a lawyer in the past 5 and 6 years. So in his, like, no matter for his undergraduate study or like his work, daily work, he will not encounter so many about like maths or analysis or data analysis. But in INSEAD, the business school, you will always need to deal with a lot of like finance, accounting. So you do need to have some preparation of the quantitative study. So, and for his GMAT score, he's 710, but his verbal is super high, 95 percentile. But his quantitative is 63 or not even 65. So that's why we will have the concern. If like he comes to INSEAD, he may not be able to cope with the intensive like heavy courses. That's why we asked him to retake. The second time when he retake, actually his total score is only 690. But his score is balanced, like 75% in quant, and I think 80% in verbal. So that part, I think we are quite okay. So at the end, he got the offer. So this is like how we evaluate the GMAT or GR score, because we want to make sure once you are in INSEAD, and then you are able to cope with the courses, and you will not also affect your teammates, like your group mates, and then in terms of the academic part. The second and the third part, I think I talk about the contribution first. So everyone, we expect that you bring in your own knowledge, your industry insights, and whatever your experience you have to contribute to the class participation. So this part is very important that to show on your application profile, including no matter your personal life experience or professional life experience. And international motivation is important because in INSEAD, it is very diverse. But that also requires you need to be very adaptable, open-minded, and also willing to share. If you are very good, but you don't make us feel, okay, you are the person want to share, like you just want to sit there, listen to the lecture, and learn from others, then others will not learn from you. So this is not that the students that we are looking for. So we do want to understand like your past experience, how you work with people from different culture, how you understand different culture, and you are willing to share. The last part, leadership potential, this is only required for the MBA application, not mastery management, because master student, you don't have any work experience. We also don't expect you can show this part. But for MBA, no matter you have 2 to 3 years work experience now, or you have 10 years work experience, we still want to see the potential that you become the future leaders. So how to show this part is basically from your past experience you can be. If you manage team before, that's great. Otherwise, how you manage project, your teamwork, how you work with people from different seniority. So I can talk a little bit more, and then when it comes to the actual application. So first one, this is the MBA application. Anyone already opened the MBA application form? Not yet? You'll apply for August intake. Now you need to apply for if you apply for the August intake, you should, at least open the application form so that you know what type of questions we ask, you can start thinking about it. The first question you will choose is like your campus. So campus, that means the moment you choose your starting campus, you cannot change after you get the offer, because we do need to look at the diversity of the class, but you don't need to think which campus is easier to get in, because when we receive your application, the admissions committee will not be able to see this section. So we purely evaluate your profile based on whatever you write on your essay. But do know that if you choose either campus, okay, then it's our choice. So if we give you Fontainebleau campus, but at the end you come back and say, I want to start my career in APAC, I want to move to Singapore campus, it could be very difficult, because especially closer to the program, and then we probably already set the campus. So do choose one. I'm sure you have a preference, and don't think you put either campus, you have more percentage chance and then to get into the program. That doesn't work that way. And and this is common. So for a master program, you don't need to choose, because you have to start in France and then come to Singapore. This is the common part that I already actually mentioned. So you need to fill in the GMAT or GRE and your English test score. So for English test, this is just our recommended score. So to be honest, over the years, I do see students, like every year, I think we have students, the TOEFL is not 105, it could be 103, 104, sometimes even 102, and then we see it get in. Because we will look at your English fluency, we will look at your TOEFL or IELTS, and in the meantime, we also look at your GMAT, GRE, the verbal section, and plus your video interview, how you really speak in person, like how you communicate, and then if you're able to articulate very well. So if you really get a TOEFL less than 105, don't stop your application by that. So unless you think you can really get better. But if I would say if your TOEFL is under 100, then it's a bit too low, and then you better retake it. And even you submit your application, you have to better schedule another exam and let us know you're actually retaking the TOEFL. Same for IELTS. If you get 7, I think it's still okay, and then to submit. But if you get 6 or 6.5, then I think you can first reschedule and then or retake it for that, right? And this part is also common. So for all programs in INSEAD, we want to understand your international exposure. So this part is a bit different. It's just part of the evaluation of your international motivation. Of course, if you have ever had experience, work overseas or study overseas, that will be great. And then, but if you don't have, and then you have other ways to show in your essay. But if you have, no matter for your personal travel, you see actually the drop down list is quite comprehensive. We even including you grow up, your high school, your holiday, right? And then, but you can only mention 6. So if you do have many holidays, if you only have holidays overseas, you can put 6 holidays, but put the most significant one. So you either probably is a significant experience, not holiday, like it could be your study trip, your exchange, and your work, your part-time job. And then, but it comes to holiday, then it will be the land. I think the longer, and then you were overseas, and then the better, and then to show the influence you get from this experience. Did you work and study overseas before? Yes. Okay. Yeah.
For that one, for example, if I lived in the same country 2 different times, for example, I lived in Hong Kong for high school, and then many years later, I worked in Hong Kong for several years.
You can put 2. Yeah, because you can't put from the starting of that point and then all the way to the second time. So and also you need to be really extensive, like a longer time if you want to repeat the things. Usually it's like at least a year or 2 years, and then you can repeat. But if you just go to Hong Kong for 5 days holiday, I think you can just put 1, and then so that is the difference, because we really want to understand and then how this experience influence and then your impact. Yeah, and okay, this part there's definitely advantage for Korean students, because we do need 3 languages to graduate. So the first one, the language is always your native language. So for Asian students, then of course we have our mother tongue. Even you are ABC, I think, or like you grow up in another, you basically you born and raised. We have students born and raised in U.S., but actually your family is Korean, and even they speak not fluent Korean, then we will still suggest that you put that as your native language, because for native language you don't need to prove it, but the second language you need to prove it. So for English, and then if you put as your second language, then usually for Korean students it's like you either study in the English-speaking country before, like for the undergrad, then you don't need IELTS or TOEFL. Then otherwise, majority you will need to take IELTS and TOEFL to certify your second language. And before you graduate, like you just need to learn another language. And this one, usually you will pass. You pass, right?
Yeah, I took French.
In French, yeah. It's not, you can choose French, you can choose any language, but so far I don't see anyone cannot graduate from INSEAD. It's because you cannot pass the third language. Yeah, so even EMBA, they need to take this, the third language. Any question for the language part?
It's B1. Oh no, actually A2. Sorry.
A2.
Yeah, A2. So it's not super high. It's not gonna kill you.
Can you speak French?
Bonjour.
Bonjour, I also know. Basically, I don't think you'll be fluent if you don't speak in France. How long time did you speak?
I mean, I used to study French when I was back in high school.
Okay.
But still, 근데 진짜 이것 때문에 부담돼서 지원 안 하신 분들도 또 있다 들었는데 이거는 진짜 그냥 전혀 부담 안 느끼셔도.
Yeah. So unless I think if you work in France, I think you really need to work hard, and that it will help you to live there. And also a lot of French-speaking countries in Europe, so that could be helpful. Yeah. And we have the on-campus French class before the program starts. So no matter you start in Singapore or France, and then you can, our students usually come a bit early, few weeks early to start their language class. Yeah. Yes, and the recommendation letters for MIM students, and then you can choose one academic and one internship or one professional. But for MBA students, don't go back to your university to look for your professors, like too many years back. Even for your current, the recommendation letters, we always recommend you to think about someone who closely worked with you in the past 1 year. Okay, there are some people, yes, you have 7 years work experience. There's some people go back to the first employer, that you already left like 6 years back. That also may not be so relevant, because we want to understand your current capacity, your current contribution. So do think about who will be the best referee, and this person should be, these two people should be able to tell us your leadership potential and also your contribution. So I would suggest someone senior than you, and it could be your direct supervisor. And the other person, and then could be someone closely working with you. It could be your clients, and then or probably your senior, another team leaders. And sometimes I do see, not just from the professional setup, because they have like other activities outside of work, they were in some community, and then they will contact the referee. Yeah, and if you, and this part I will give tips is that if you do have, if you never work or stay overseas, but you are actually in Korea working with overseas like clients or overseas team, right? Or people from other countries, you can consider to get someone non-Korean as your referee, because if this person closely work with you and he's not non-Korean, then it will be better. So then it will be able to show us that another part of your adaptability, how you understand different culture. Any tips for this one? You forgot. Yeah, and essay. Okay, essay. I think this is relevant to all school, top school. You need to apply to. So a lot of schools have different types of essays and different number of essays. But if you open an INSEAD application form, you probably will find INSEAD has the most number of questions. I won't say essay, I will say questions. But if you look at the number of words we ask you, it's actually not too long. So basically, I think all the top schools always want to have the best talent, right? But the best talent is it's almost, and then you share the same traits. Like how we evaluate the profile and also look at your potential. It's all from your past experience, because we all believe that your past success will be a good indicator for your future success. So you do need to look at the whole essays and then as one way, and then to show us who you are as a person, your own story. So no matter which school and then the essay, how do they ask you, it's always the same question. It's like who you are and what you can bring into the community. Why, and then you will have a bigger potential compared with people probably from the same sector or same background. So, but just for INSEAD, we are quite specific. So instead of just give you a general questions, it can be, okay, tell us about yourself or something. We really break it down to the areas that we want to understand. So for example, for the Master in Management, and then we will ask you about your extracurricular activities at school, not just about like what you think, and then also after your high school, what type of experience and then really influence you. So the whole essay, if break it down, you can see it as after you answer all these questions, you will be able to show us actually your entire like journey, like the most significant experience that which help you to shape who you are today, right? And but every question is actually not long. It's like for Master in Management, it's 200 words, and some is like just 100. But for MBA, it's slightly longer because you have so many to share, right? In the past, like I guess 25 years or 30 years. So if you look at each questions for the MBA essays, the first one, this is the job description. It is not the essays, okay? Because people will think that INSEAD has 7 essays, where other schools only have 1, 2, 3. But for INSEAD, actually we break it down, professional, and also about yourself. So this part is mainly professional. So you will see probably there are a little bit overlap with your CV, but the difference of CV and this job description is that the CV will show us what you actually done, what you have achieved in each job, and your change of job and probably your career progression over the years from your title, from the different company. But it will not tell us why you are making this change. So that's why here we want to understand a bit more. Instead of like only looking at your career progression or career change, we want to understand how did you plan your career. That means every time you make a change, what's the reason and rationale behind. And then when it comes to the second question, right, we ask you what's your next step if you are not doing MBA. This is also the question to help you to really think carefully. Do you really need an MBA? So if you're not doing an MBA next year, where will you be in your career, like in your sales stage? So there are students that like probably they answer this question if you just need to be honest to yourself, right? So for example, there are like students, they think that their goal is just to do an MBA no matter they get into INSEAD or top school or another school. And then as long as they get offer, I'm sure there's so many business schools you will get an offer if you want to do an MBA, then you can also put it there. But if you are not doing an MBA, but you see that you'll get promoted next year or something, then you can also think about, should you stay on for another year, or like you want to like quickly start your MBA next year. And for the long-term and short-term career goal, it's important because we will not ask you why INSEAD. We just want to understand if INSEAD could really be the stepstone for you and also help you to accelerate your career. So to understand how did you plan your career in the past, and also looking at what you have done now, and this will help us to also understand where you want to be in the future. Right? So to ask you about your short-term and long-term career, we will see how INSEAD can fit in this picture. So ideally, actually, your short-term career goal, it should be something you can immediately achieve after your MBA. Long-term career goal, it could be something very different. It could be relevant to your short-term career goal on the paper, but also it can be very far away from what you immediately do. Then this part is you need to explain a little bit. So for example, if your short-term career goal, you can say, like consulting, right? You just want to get into consulting. Yes, the short-term career goal, you want to change in consulting. But for long-term, there are people, they really like consulting. They say, I want to be the partner in the consulting firm, that's fine. But if your long-term career goal, it could be that I want to start my own business. Then period, because there's not so much connection, then you need to explain a little bit why do you want to, like why will you have this like long-term career goal. So to help us understand how did you like plan your career in the future. Any questions here? Any tips? No? Yeah, and this part is the motivation essays that really link to yourself, like about basically you want to understand your your personality, like based on what type of experience really significantly influence you. I think it's good to also reflect on your past like 5 to 10 years. How did you grow up, and then what type of experience? Sometimes not necessary to be anything from work. It can be from a personal experience. And also, you don't need to really find those very fancy experience. It's really go back to ask yourself and then which experience you think really like influence you. The second part, when it comes to achievement, this one, there's the achievement and also the failure. And when it comes to the achievement and failure, I think it's very important to explain, not just find something. We see a lot like you try to show us your failure, but actually you're showing off like the other part like, of your achievement. So what's really like the best part is to be honest. So what we want to understand is really those experiences that you failed, but you learn from there, and how you learn and how you grow from your failure. And the last one, there's the last one, we want to understand your hobbies and interests. This part you also don't need to, yes, we do have students that they have they're very strong in their like other like activities, like sports, all that. But even you don't have like, you can just put your really whatever you are interested the most, and you have like have been doing for a very long time. What was your interest and extracurricular activities? Did you put something fancy? You forgot. But I think I give you an example. Like I have every year we have students they put like they like cooking, or they like food, or they like probably just very simple stuff. And then but what we want to understand is just like your own, and then the real story about yourself. The last one, optional essay, is really optional, and there's no harm to put more things you think it will help us to understand who you are, but it's totally fine that you just leave it empty if you already answer all the questions and then from the above. Okay? And the CV part, it's this is actually the template of our INSEAD CV, and you can see that it's a little bit different from your job hunting CV, what you have right now. So for us, we really want to see every bullet point, and then you need to imagine if someone not from your industry, they will also understand what you have achieved and what type of impact you will bring to the team, or that. And also it's very clear that like about your responsibility and your achievement and the impact you bring to the class. And then it will come with some additional information like your language, your interest, your hobbies. Okay? And comes to the video interview is a very important part, especially for those if your, for example, your TOEFL and IELTS are not up to the recommended score, then we will see how you answer in the video interview. So we can practice a few more times. Most important is that you need to make us feel you're confident to speak up in the class. Yeah. Any tips? How to prepare for essays? It's very difficult for people to, yeah. How long have you?
저도 에세이가 저는 사실 GMAT이 제일 짜증났고요. GMAT이 제일 싫었고, 이제 인터뷰랑 이제 에세이가 있는데 에세이 쓰는데 좀 오래 걸리긴 했어요. 근데 말씀하셨던 것처럼 다른 M7 대비해서 질문이 굉장히 쪼개져 있어서 사실 더 어려웠던 거는 이거를 사실 길게 쓰는 거는 요즘 뭐 챗GPT도 있고 이래서 잘 늘리면 되는데 짧게 쓰는 건 진짜 어려워. 저도 그때는 없었으니까 GPT가 어려웠거든요. 그래서 그거를 진짜 자기가 하고 싶은 말이 뭔지 되게 에센스를 잘 뽑아서 쓰는 게 되게 어렵지만, 그래서 다 쓰고 나면 오히려 역으로 다른 M7이라든지 다른 학교 쓰기가 되게 쉽다고 저는 안 썼는데 하더라고요. 그래서 좀 미리미리 쭉 자기의 일대기를 레즈메에 놓고 그 다음에 내가 어떠한 사람이었는지에 대해서 그냥 쭉 에세이 보지 마시고 쭉 먼저 써보시고 그 다음에 내가 어떤 사람인지를 생각을 정리가 되면은 그 전체 에세이가 나와 있는 상황에서 이 어떤 소스를 뽑아 써야겠다라고 저는 정리를 해서 썼거든요. 그래서 그런 식으로 쓰면 조금 더 수월하니까 아마 좀 나중에 뭐 연락을 따로 주시거나 아니면은 하시면 제가 좀 더 자세하게 설명을 드리거나 할 수 있을 것 같아요. 지금은 더 설명하실 게 많으시니까.
Easy. I think after this session, you should find this is very easy, and then to finish the essay. So basically, I think it's important. I think to start thinking about what do you want to put in this point. So it's very difficult if you just sit down one day and prepare for 3 hours, and then I don't think you will come up with a very good one. But rather, I think you remember these questions, and then you start thinking what are the points you want to put and what stories, and then you think is like relevant to this point. And then once you sit down, I think it will be faster for you to write the essay. Okay? And yeah, and that's all. And the last part is just scholarship. So master in management, no need to apply. You'll all be automatically considered. So the moment you receive the offer, you'll know have a scholarship or not, because we slightly a smaller class. But for MBA, you do need to submit the application for scholarship. So we have 150 scholarships available, and then every year, and then you can see what are the scholarship, and then you want to apply for. Yeah. Yeah, and if you don't know what type of scholarship, then you just go to the website. You can search by different category, and you kind of know, and then what are the criteria and how much and is the scholarship too. But all this you can do it after you get the interview invitation. Because if you don't even get the interview invitation, you don't really need to prepare for the scholarship application. We save each other's time, right? Like, so for MIM, and then we have 4 rounds, and then round 1 is October. So if you already have 1 year work experience, this year is the last year you can apply for the Master in Management. Otherwise, just wait for the MBA. And then for the MBA, we always have a round. So every round, the admissions ratio is the same. And just for the first 3 rounds, you can directly apply for scholarship on the portal. But for round 4, you cannot apply because we don't have enough time to let you to apply. We evaluate, and then we give you, because it's too close to the start date of the program. So for round 4 candidate, we still give scholarship, but it's purely based on your profile, like the merit base and need base. But basically, every round you will still have the chance to get the scholarship. Okay? Yeah, I think that's all. And then thank you so much, and then for listening to the presentation. And then we open, if you want to have any question, and then you can let us know. Yeah. Then you can, if you ask me, you can please speak in English. If you just ask him, you can speak in Korean.
It's more related to application, so it's not asking.
Yeah.
So if I saw that it's a less than a year program, so it's less than a year long program, so it's not full year. So are students able to choose major or concentration in the MBA program?
Okay, so for all the top school, to be honest, you will not find any top school has, specialized in marketing, specialized in strategy. It doesn't work for, I feel, not just INSEAD, but also other top school. Basically, the MBA program really help you to prepare general management knowledge, and also to climb up the ladder, become the future leaders, no matter which industries you're gonna be in, or for the entrepreneur. So for the major, I think that means it's electives. So for electives, you can choose. We have like 7 areas of the elective. So there are students that are more interested in finance. They will take more courses in finance. There are students that are more interested in strategy. They take more courses in strategy. We also have courses in tech, in AI, in entrepreneurship, in accounting. So you can go to the website, you can just see all the electives available. And this year we also add in the sustainability curriculum. So basically all core courses have sustainability, the modules too.
Just a couple questions. Even undergrad in Montreal, the French-speaking area, do you consider it as an English-speaking country?
As long, it's not about the country. As long as your degree was completely taught in English, then you don't need to take the language. Yeah, I think you have a question.
Oh, yeah. So you just said that it was a lot easier for MIM for the, if you have 1 year of work experience.
Because by next year you will have 2 years work experience, right? Which month you graduate?
Last May.
Last May. So by this May you already have 1 year, right? So if you want to apply for the MIM next year, it's actually you already slightly more than 2 years, but you can still apply for the Master in Management.
So there is a limit to how long?
Yeah, less than 2 years, but you can still apply for the 2024 August intake.
If I don't work and do, for example, another university or grad school program, does that count as work experience?
That doesn't count.
So I can do another grad school and then join the
But then what's the point? Okay, I think yeah, that I have to be very I think no matter you consider a master program or MBA program, this should not be your goal. So this should actually be just a accelerator for your career development. So when you need to choose what do you want to do, this should always link to, definitely will help you to get closer to your ideal, long-term career goal. So that's why you need to make the decision. And then why do you want to do this and then burn out that? So whichever, even you have both offers, right? Always I have students that they come with job offers and also the MBA offer or MIM offer or 2 job offers to ask me which one should I choose, and then so that I will have better chance to get into INSEAD. So we become a career coach instead of people asking. But I think the most important thing is that when you have choices, you really need to ask yourself which one will actually get closer to your own dream. And then you take that up because everything will be connected. The one you choose better, and then probably even you do MIM or MBA, everything connected will help you probably get there faster. Yeah.
Also for the scholarship, what is the most scholarship?
For MIM this year, we just announced we have a full scholarship. For MIM, only for MIM, sorry, not MBA. MBA we have full scholarship, but it's for like Africa, it's the donor, okay? How it works is that in MBA is like, if you have a donor from this country, so I sponsor 100% full scholarship for this country. Like Africa we have, Philippines we have, Indonesia we have, Korea we don't have donor yet. So we wait for one. Like, he's successful, he donate and then we will have. But yeah, we have. Every year the alumni, they donate so much, and then there are some alumni that they purposely, and then they say, okay, I only give this scholarship and then full scholarship for this the people from their country. So a few, but MIM student we just have one. It's like full scholarship, but that one is more need based. I don't think you will qualify. Just to be very honest, I see students from really emerging market without scholarship, they definitely could not make it, but they are very bright and they also study very hard. So we tend to help more, and then of those MIM students. But normally, I think MIM students, 40% of the MIM students will get scholarship, similar to MBA in the same class. 30-40% of students get scholarship, and of course, female will have a big advantage. Like we always have women's scholarship, but we don't have men's scholarship. So MIM student, and then you can expect if you get is either from few thousand and then to probably 12 to 15,000, because the MIM the tuition fee is almost half as the MBA. Okay.
I actually have
Yeah.
I actually have 2 questions. The first is you mentioned at the end of I forgot what this section 4 or 5 go to exchange.
Yeah.
And you said each section was around 2 months.
2 months.
So will the exchange need to be for the last 2, or can you just go for 1?
No, you can only do 1-2 months exchange to another school.
Also, so if I apply to Wharton or
Only 2 months.
Only 2 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can only go to one external school, so you cannot do both Wharton or Kellogg. But you can do probably Fontainebleau, Singapore, Wharton, something like. If you are able to bid it, it's all bidding system, We can't tell you if you are able to have the chance. It's purely your classmates' behavior and how many points you put. Did you get the one you want?
Yeah, yeah. It's just 그 P1, P2는 무조건 홈캠퍼스 지정한 홈캠퍼스에 있어야 되고요. 그 다음부터는 자기가 지정을 할 수 있는데 as she explained 그 P3, P5에서 그런 친구들도 있었어요. 뭐 싱가포르에서 시작을 했다가 그다음에 폰텐블로 갔다가 왓튼 갔다가 다시 싱가포르로 갔죠. 뭐 그거는 그러니까 P3부터는 P5까지는 자기가 설계를 할 수 있어서. 근데 to be honest, the Wharton and Kellogg in our batch, it wasn't that competitive. So
Yeah, I don't know about your batch. Yeah, a lot of people think it's but it's different, okay? When you come, probably like we cannot. That's why we can never guarantee because like every batch is different. Like yeah, it's just like for example in Singapore, I think there's one period is never be no people, and then it's very quiet. I think it's summer. But and then during COVID, everyone wants to come to Singapore because they think Singapore is very safe. But Singapore has the distance. Like just before you, we need to make sure 1 meter. You know, Singapore government is super strict. So instead of 250 students, we can only take 100 that year. Everyone is like go crazy about like, oh, I cannot come to but we can't help. So there's uncertainties, you know, like so. That's why starting campus is important. If you really think you have a chance in Asia, you have to start in Singapore. And if you want to go to France, and then you go to France in France. And whoever apply for the August intake this year, I don't know how long will that. We have Asia Enterprise Scholarship. So whoever choose Singapore as your starting campus, you'll be considered for that thing. Because that one is related to, even for Singapore want to grow the talents and then in APAC. Yeah.
My second question was, you mentioned that the July and August intake, July and January intake, there's basically no difference in career because the internships are super hard to get anyway.
I wouldn't say super hard, but like it's just that D class, 그러니까 D 배치는 중간에 방학이 있기 때문에 you can actually try for the internship. It just has the opportunity, but the J class doesn't even have the opportunity because there's no vacation into it. 그 차이라고 보시면 돼요.
근데 맨 마지막에는 약간 크게는 뭐 커리어 초이스가
그렇죠.
있다고 하셨는데,
네.
그러면은 인턴십 저도 약간 미국 거밖에 많이 안 들어봐서 미국에서는 인턴십을 안 하면은 풀타임 워크를 못 받는 구조가 약간 그런 건데 여기는 그런 구조는 아니에요.
근데 그게 보통 풀타임 오퍼가 인턴십을 한다고 해서 반드시 풀타임 오퍼 나오는 것도 아니고 인턴십을 안 한다고 풀타임을 지원 못하는 것도 아니기 때문에 기본적으로 회사들에서 다 MBA 자리가 있거나 MBA들끼리 이제 뽑는 그런 세션들이 있어요. 그거가 이제 저희 인세대 같은 경우에는 뭐 굳이 인턴십을 한다고 해가지고 이제 꼭 전환이 되는 것도 아니고 인턴십을 안 한다고 또 이렇게 안 뽑는 것도 아니기 때문에 그거는 그 잡에 따라서 잡의 컨디션에 따라서 많이 다른 것 같아요. 미국이라고 꼭 인턴십을 해야지 꼭 되는 건 아니고 그런 잡의 형태가 더 많기도 하고 미국은 기본적으로 2년이기 때문에 방학 동안 할 게 없으니까 기본적으로 그래서 일단은 인턴십을 기회를 주는 회사들이 더 많은 것 같아요. 그런 부분에 따라서 생각을 하시면 돼요.